And I'm Erica.
And we're with AccuQuilt.
And we are here today to show you our new Rings of Tangerine quilt hanging behind us.
That's right. And we're going to show you how to create one of these blocks today.
Right.
Okay. And we're going to start with cutting out the pieces with the Go Flowering Snowball die. And this is one of our blocks on a board.
Or, as we like to call them, it's a bob.
It's a bob, so keep that in mind. What we're going to do is we are going to layer the fabric as we cut it, but you can also fan fold your fabric.
Right.
And a key with fan folding is we get a lot of questions about pre-cutting. So what you want to keep in mind is you're going to cut with the fabric strips because you want to make sure that your fabric is on the lengthwise grain as it's going under the roller. So just measure your shapes and leave about 1/4 inch on either side and then just cut your width of strip fabric.
Right.
So for this, we've got our fabric here on the lengthwise grain and we're just gonna layer, we're just layering for this demonstration, but just layering that and you can cut up to 6 layers at a time. One of the great things about this particular bob is that you can cut with 4 layers, you can cut 2 full blocks in just one pass.
Right, and since the quilt that you see behind us has 20 blocks, you're going to be able to cut this quilt top in minutes.
So that is pretty exciting.
It is.
Because it makes a somewhat complex looking quilt very easy to cut and get ready to sew.
Well, and accessible too.
So I'm just going to slide this off. And I am going to give you one of, this is what we're calling piece A and piece B.
And piece A and B. Now don't be afraid of the curve because one of the great things about using the die is we're going to have these notches on here. And I know that lots of people don't, quilters in particular, don't like pinning, but it's really important with this curve and it's really going to make it go together much easier for you. So I like to start with pinning where the notch is and then pin from the center out.
Right, and this isn't a beginner block, but it is definitely a confident
it's
beginner.
It's a confident beginner block or
to an intermediate. And the pinning, the notches are that's what makes it great with the AccuQuilt die, but the pins I think are the key.
They are, and I do like to, now Lynn doesn't do this, but I do. Lynn does not put a pin up at the top. I do to get me started because I've taken all the time to pin it together. I want the top to stay together when I get it to the machine, which is where I'm going now.
And really, one of the great things about quilting is that there's not just one way to do it.
But the key is going to be while you do this, then you will want to stop your machine and pull out your pins so that you don't sew over those pins because you can break your pins and you can break your needle, and that's really annoying when you're in the middle of a project. So it'll take you a little bit longer than your standard seam, but it's well worth it.
And this is one that you could definitely get all of this set up, get everything pinned, and chain sew these pieces as well.
There's so many great patterns out there, blocks that you can create with a curve. But the pressing is going to be important, so Lynn's agreed to be my presser.
And with this one, you're going to want to press towards the pink or the B piece. So you'll do that. It's naturally going to want to do that.
It's going to want to do that anyway, so it's easy, but it's a really important step when we get a little further down the road, and we'll show you why.
Yes. Okay, so the next part, so we've got that done, and then what you're going to do is you're going to take another piece B.
Right, and we'd sew that right on the other side the same way.
That's right. So here, I'm going to give you the next 2.
Okay. So we're going to work on that center section, and really you can see how when you deconstruct this block and break it down, it really becomes very simple with giving a great result. So I'm going to go ahead and sew the center square, which is part C, to the A block, and I'm not going to bother to pin this time.
Another great thing about this block is that you can make it very modern depending on the fabrics that you choose. You can make it traditional. It is a 12-inch finish, so you can use your mix and match blocks and those coordinate with it. And here, let me press.
You can really get some different looks by playing with it too. And you can make it look, you could make this pattern for any age depending on the fabrics that you're using.
That's right. And so with this one, we're going to press towards the center.
Right.
All right, so then the next step with this.
The next step for this would be then to sew the other side on. And now that we've got these two, I'm going to skip that step. We're going to move over here. And again, we're going to want to pin because we've got our curve here. So The reason why we focused on that pressing is because, and hopefully I can show you, now we've got this seam going one direction, we've got this seam going the other, so that we can lock those seams in together and match up for perfect points for you there. So I am going to start with pinning those first. It's really going to make you look good when you're done. And then again, we've got our notches here, so we're going to go then to the notches, pin those notches and pin in between them as well.
And then I like to run, as we're sewing, you'll see, I like to run my finger along that edge as you're sewing because that keeps everything flat as I'm doing that.
And there I am. I'm going to put that starting pin on there to get it into place.
And I think the more you work with this, probably you can judge how much pinning you need and how much that, you know, and just whatever you're
may be using.
whatever you're comfortable with. So we love this block because, as you can see, you really get this secondary effect in the pattern once you put it together. You can get that double wedding ring effect.
Double wedding ring effect,
without putting the double wedding ring. And a double wedding ring is a great pattern, but it's very time consuming, and this one goes together very quickly.
Okay.
Okay, looks
So
great.
we can go back to our pressing board again.
Okay, and on these, it's going to naturally want to anyway, but go towards, you're going to want to press it towards those outer units.
Right, towards the corners. Or
So that's how you're going to do that.
Here it's pink, but it's going to be piece B that we're pressing towards.
And you've got your corners are almost perfect there. They look great.
And then we're going to
If
go
not
ahead and you
perfect.
can see how we just match it up, and we do the same thing on the other side then to have our block ready to go.
That's right, and you can find this pattern, it's in the package, but it's also as a download on AccuQuilt.com.
And while you're there, be sure you check our blog for some more great information. And you can also find us on Facebook, on Pinterest, and on Instagram.
That's right, and every quilter knows that
Better cuts.
make better quilts.